like a scarf that you forget at a bus stop that somebody could just take and walk away with, but listen, it's your unique scarf and it's got your grandmother's stitching on it. So if you found some little vagrant babalas idiot in the street wearing that scarf, only my grandmother stitches like that, plus it's got my grandmother's initials at the bottom right corner. It's my scarf. No, mamela, this is school uniform. Everybody be out here walking around in the same CI. Everybody be wearing the same shirts. Everybody be wearing the same jerseys. Everybody be wearing the same blazers. Everybody be wearing the same. I was like, mamela, this is where I'm gonna be out here shopping for new school uniform. And so in grade 10 or 11, I one day went to the groundskeeper and I said, Bujon, let's say his name was Bujon. Let's say, netball. Go check if he caught in the lost and found. He was like, okay, mtanam, wangivulele. And indeed, wahlala ngaphansi, cigarette, mina ngangena lapha, ngathola ihembe. Not hembe, sorry. I took out a lost and found a jersey, a skirt, a blazer, a tie, winter socks, and even some summer socks. Went home and threw them in the washing machine. And the next Monday, I'd be out there rocking up with new school uniform eskolweni. Some of the stuff was labeled Peter or John or Cassandra. I was like, Peter, John, Cassandra's not gonna know that that's their jersey. It's not like there's an identifying mark on there. And I wore it. Got label ya Cassandra in my jersey. School uniform sangwa no mo. Serekilwe ke batswadi baba. Mara se mo mmeleng wa ka. That was my mom. I got myself procured for myself. Lost and found. School uniform got lost and found. And I get a whole haul. And I made it cute. I chose a blazer that was deliberately one size kind of small. Because Nikibata would look like Cher in Clueless. And I made that whole circumstance work. My skirt finally fit. Mewaka azanga ipotso uniform ya Hawaii ilinchaso. She didn't even notice. She didn't even notice, dog. Like akabonanga lo muntu was so apathetic. I noticed. Ore navy blue blazer is super califragilistic, looking like it just got out of the dye. Navy blue. Because it was out your mind, bordering on being kind of gray. Now that it had been a cool 3.5 to 4 years with the same clothes. Christ did not allow any of the Hebrews' clothes to wear out in the wilderness. That's apparent. But mine couldn't even notice when my uniform was evidently brighter and more colorful because it was new from other. It was new. I told myself that the Peter and the John that lost this jersey and this tie, their mom was gonna yell at them on some, Peter, John, you done lost your tie, you bad child, and then go and buy another one. Because Peter and John got parents that care. God on me now. I'm that kid that don't nobody care about. And since Peter and John was irresponsible enough to lose their shirt and their jersey on the school grounds because they were tardy, forget about it with every single bone in your body if you're gonna expect me to care. That, oh, but who does it belong to? It's likely Peter's. Peter got a mama that cares and I didn't care. I was not safe. So I was making like Oceans 11 and 13 at that point, thinking I'm suave with theft. I'm thinking I'm suave with theft. So listen, you could call me Brad Pittess or George Clooney. It's giving raid at the Belizia or whatever hotel. I'm pretty sure the name is not Belizia. I glamorized the theft. I felt like it was a necessary evil. So do you see the trajectory I was in if at all I was not awarded independence enough for me to ultimately default to honesty? I don't know what I would have become. Maybe that's why all cult practitioners want me. I have it in me to be kind of crooked and a smooth criminal. Dick-a-ding-ding. Woo! I have it in me. But like I was cleansed from all such filth because God was jealous for me. Love's like a hurricane. I am a tree. Yeah, I know. So that's how I got a school uniform. Towards the end of matric, I was wearing other people's like stuff, right? I think I might have even gotten DM. I just shopped at Lost and Found. And I matriculated wearing other people's school uniform. Only thing that was mine on my body was maybe a vest and a pen, yeah, pretty much. Because even the socks were from Lost and Found. Yo, dog. And my man, like, I'm not thinking my mom is an employed woman. She's a middle income woman. She's not poor. So this is not even the plight of a poor kid. This is the plight of a kid whose mom, who's got enough means, just does not care to use them on her child. I was too much of a burden and expense to my mother. I was too much of a burden and an expense to my mom. And I went and I procured by theft, by banditry, my own school uniform from Lost and Found, while the father of the fatherless and the one who takes care of widows and the orphans showed what, if at all I had given my life to him as a kid, would have happened with me, with an apathetic mother like that. I mean, listen, I don't think God would have done the miracle of making sure my school uniform does not wear out, but something would have given, because I have seen miraculous breakthrough at the precipice of nothingness. Listen, it looks like it's over. At that very precarious point, that was where the Lord then showed me that, listen, I sometimes out here be giving you a breakthrough or answered prayer or just what you need at the moment when you have just run out of the last thing that you were leaning on. Just when you were on your last cup of rice, that's when I'm gonna have somebody drive by and just drop a bag of rice at your door. That's when I come through. And I have learned to rely on that kind of immediate, just at the very final hour, cusp of nothingness, pertaining breakthrough, pertaining provision, when there's lack. And I spoke about George Miller and how that's how he also functioned and thrived so much in answered prayer to a point of journaling all of his answered prayers. Over 50,000. Yeah, God has been like that to me. Because this here chosen servant of his, that however is yet to walk in him. But I've had this forged in me. That day when I was sick and the doctor gave the grim diagnosis, my mom was kind to me because she was scared I was gonna die. So essentially you have to evidently look like you're on your way out. You have to get a diagnosis of cancer, where for somebody who acted aloof like they don't care what's going on with you, to finally be nice and warm and start buying you ice cream. You have to get told that you have got stage 4 something for them to be kind. And imagine umuntu that's waiting for you to essentially be on your way out before they can show you love. That's not a person you need in your life. That's not a person that you're going to be comfortable with. That is an individual that you must train your spirit to be free from. A person that you must train your spirit to be comfortable without, even though you love them very much. And some of these crazy people, banjalo, they're full of reverse psychology, but withholder affection. But I mean, there are men, there are like crazy boys that thoroughly want me to be like Ruth on their threshing floor, nibbling at their toes. Need a help. Charlie Puth, I'm only one call away. Empire State Building. These are the kinds of people that God is trying to protect people from, because they are like takers and they drain and they sap and they juice. They are parasitic and they will evidence that they love you when you've got a grim diagnosis. You cannot have people be kind to you only when you are dying. You cannot have people be kind to you only when you've got a cast on your foot. You cannot accommodate people that have evidenced to you that only when you've broken a leg, then and only then. Well, listen. Yo, recently I done fallen splat on the ground. And I was like, boom, your small little step out should be causing a sister some balance issues. Yes, like it, but my foot landed like that. Thank God no bone broke. I'm grateful for that, but I was sprained. So for a couple of days I walked around, jive. I walked around with a stanky leg. I walked around limping, and no one asked me, why are you limping? Because a limp with a sprain will heal, duh, obviously. But if at all there was a bone sticking out from my side, and I'm bleeding, evidencing that if I don't see a doctor, I'ma bleed out and die and go in a casket, then they'll be like, yo, Agami said doctor, Agami said spitale. Because I don't want you dying. Listen, I'm not trying to do any of that. But a sprain, it'll be fine. What's that for? No, bang, like you fall, dog. No, why are you limping? When saying, deep heat, nothing. If when you walk into the house with a braise, a scratch, a bruise, a blue eye, because you done ran and jogged right into a bus stop, and then oh, you got a blue eye, and the person with whom you live does not automatically just kind of start wearing a jacket on some show me who did that to you. That's not somebody you should be considerate of as loving you. If you don't have to say to a person, no, relax, wait, I was jogging, okay, and I just ran into a bus stop, that's why I got this going down. If a person does not do that, if they don't automatically start to get all defensive because you came home with a blue eye that came as a result of your lack of nautical precision, flying around like a bird hitting some walls, if they don't start rolling up their sleeves to try and deal with the person who done did all that, you need to get out. And I'm speaking now of physical injuries, but there are evidences of emotional injuries that are inherent in children, in people, like sudden withdrawal, like usathulile manje akasarasi, like uhlala esivalele ekamreni, like uchencha outfits zakhe, and now she's wearing black all over, she's goth and she's grunge. When a child changes behavior and all you're comfortable with is that ufika jarating if they again and what's amaya every day ayaskolong, because when you don't want to be a shrink therapist, you're too consumed in yourself as a parent to be paying attention to that child. Yes, like it lomntana uzogcina azivulele ejaradini yakho, and in retrospect, you will think about all the changes. In retrospect, you will think about all the changes. There was a lady wako HR ko MTN vele ona twaets. Urika havo ko mo life. Mo ngwane wa higher, so of course she did that to me. Her child committed suicide. God showed me. A boy. Me wa tenge amuseba mo strateng wreaking havoc. Temba one thing, temba this, temba that. One day I figured jafti numtana kasbulet and lived with the guilt for the rest of her days, thinking in retrospect, couldn't say nothing good about this kid. I'm hleba phambi kwabantu mangene ejardini uya mhleba nabanye abantu. Umubuwa hampi. Udula amukhoza wa chiko kibonkhon. What's going on? Instead, we am revile estradini. Bad report. This child was like, I'm just a kid. I don't have my own independence. I can't live with this woman. Unfortunately, Tamba, I don't think was saved. So we lay wherever. Mara, to if at all somebody were to be able to come back from the dead and see the reaction of people to ukshona kwakho, maqeda ukshona ile hore ne ba go ignore ba sna taba lwena. O ka re he magatle. Ke shwele o sna taba ke khwilwe ke koloi mo ongelekeng engwe e kotsi ko N1. Yang siga tlhogo ka ya mahodimong. Mara dikeledi tsena. Mara 2 weeks ago, o no sampuisi o sino sna taba len. Grandshop the other day golotse ka re koloi ka istakile wa se tle ka thowisa koloi ke some good Samaritan wa monna wa Lindia. Ko starting a re mosadi is not supposed to be alone. Esugu hazarding. It's nothing, it's what under the bridge. Sekile ka staka ka tshelwa petrol ke good Samaritan ko strateng. O siko phone it. Wa ntlogela nje fela hore the birds di tlonja like I am a carrion on the side of the street and they're vultures. But then some good Samaritan was and just felt like a bat out of hell. And no, not out of hell but out of heaven. More like a bird, an eagle out of heaven. And was like, listen, a woman shouldn't be struggling like this. One says, hey, jongan lengilosi. Jwanong nada se ke khwilwe ke koloi ko N1 ke sna tlhogo. Ke mahodimong jwanong ke fitlhela lebitso la ka ke karabo. Wala, he banna. Dikeledi tse kotsi tse kana se tletse ka boladu le madi. He banna, o se tuwe. Ngadi yang thusa dikeledi tsena na. Ke mahodimong ho monate mona na mara ke bona ka re. O ka lla dikeledi tse di kana o ne sna taba le nna before. Hane ke phele. Ne ke fila nka re vela o ka ba happy weekends jaaka. Ke mang o se yolona re. Abantu ba kwamela ba game. Ore ba kwaze cause like ka seng ya khamiwa. That police lady that out got all her family members killed with an insurance policy. She took out insurance policies on them. Is it not Rasuche? Some woman, cop in South Africa. She was all popular back in the day. Am I gonna find this now? Cop in SA who took out insurance policies on her family members. Give me computer. Everything is just so slow over there. So let me police in SA that killed family for insurance payout. Yeah, and there's no Wi-Fi. I would have thoroughly imagined that she's just like that crazy police officer. Take out an insurance policy on her child's head and then drive her off a cliff and then claim on the policy. And you then get surprised as a cloud of witnesses in heaven, looking at how people are just mourning ukshona kwakho from heaven, and you're like, Mara, you're the reason why Abu Matesa thought that I was up for grabs. You're the reason why I'm theirs for the taking. And I don't even understand. Rosemary Ndlovu. I just think you'll be making like Rosemary Ndlovu. Do you not have a policy at Santam or something? Have you not taken out a policy on my name? Honey Bumble. I am suicidal. About treat her like this. Aren't you Rosemary Ndlovu? You feel like Rosemary. My how Rosemary I tatela mo mabitleng. About my lwena. Ele hore ke the truth because I can't look at my hodimong. Ana mo talk buang makakadi. Ka taba go Africa. Ko lifu. Bona. Ke bereavement ya mannet. Ke lorile a couple of days ago. I auntie am. Not so much my mom. Ana le lesea le lentsha. Ngwana o montsha ona apere mamela onesie, the onesie of which in a little pelo mo tsona like a baby grower. This baby grower had hearts on it. God is something else, you know that. I had a dream of my aunt about a week ago where there was this baby that was hers. My aunt is like big and grown like my mom. Hers, no longer having babies, post-menopause and everything. But she had a daughter. And this daughter was an infant. And this daughter was wearing a baby grower that had hearts on it, all over it. And this child, mega papa, though it was an infant, it had legs, yes, though it was Lesia, it could run. Basically, this baby had more ability than a regular baby would have. It was like a super baby. And this baby mega papa all over the streets azala. Just driving. And my aunt, all that my aunt did was say, child, and I was looking at this in my dream with shock and horror on some o make sure ha duli ko strateng alemonyane alemokana o chaswa ke koloi. She was just standing at a distance aloof. Keep yourself safe. Make sure that you don't end your life. Waza imoto from out of nowhere, and my heart was just palpitating on someone else. And it was the driver in the car that was almost about to hit the baby that broke in time, and the baby essentially was spared. The baby survived. When I woke up, I understood that dream immediately, and it made me sad. Why was my aunt used instead of my mom? Because this stuff has roots in witchcraft that come from long ago, and my aunt is responsible. However, my mom is vicariously out of fulfilling work, and everybody has their own will. She could have done differently. Who was that baby? Duh, me. And the baby grew up with the hearts on it. That was God saying, this is a very loved child. And me playing around on the street as an infant, having grander ability than an actual infant, was evidence of the fact that that was representation of an adult that, however, has been reduced to a child. and that child had all those abilities. This here work that I'm doing is apparently that which is putting me in peril, in danger. But it was my aunt that put me in a position to be mostrating that I might be endangered by vehicles. So if my mom had my back, if she had been a mother to me, if she had been better, I would not be getting harassed like this by the whole crazy planet. And yes, indeed, I was playing on the street with abilities greater than that of a baby, because indeed I'm an adult. And one car came on the street and broke in time before the baby could get hit. So God was saying, when people don't care for you, when people have left you out on a limb, I will make other people that are outside over there more rational where you're concerned. When you have been put in harm's way, I will make the world more reasonable with you. So the motorist that broke on time to not hit the baby, I would imagine in waking life would have been like, what the heck, woman, I almost hit your baby. Why is your baby in the street? This here is an individual that would happen upon a person that is in harm's way and choose not to finish them off, though it was within their prerogative to do so. The Lord in that dream was showing me that I would be salvaged and rescued in spite of the responsible behavior of my mother. And so I hold on to him because he keeps on showing me that though you might have been put before sharks, they won't eat you. Years ago, I had a dream showing this here season. And again, in the dream, I was a baby, but I didn't know it was me. And it was this time around outside of my grandmother's house, yet again showing regression witchcraft stuff from long ago. My grandmother was not there. I was in my grandmother's house and outside, just outside of the window of her main bedroom. Not her main bedroom, sorry, but one of the bedrooms in which my grandmother used to sew. So it was frankly the main industrial bedroom, but not the main parents' bedroom where my grandmother slept. This here bedroom was facing gate ya ko jarateng ko tladi. Still to this day. And kamontle, there was a baby girl. Again, in a baby grower, but it didn't have hearts this time. It was just a regular baby grower. And she was crawling around playing in a dog kennel with like this horrible, big, fat, chunky, ugly black dog. Just barking. Ha, ha, rah, rah. Around Lomtwana. Barking. Rah, 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 rah. Around the child. She's sitting inside a dog, like in a fenced area with a dog barking a black, and then this dog was gagged. It had a leash on it, and this dog kept on trying to run to this child to eat it or harm it, but it kept on getting held back by a gag. Held back, you know when a dog is on a leash and it actually tries to run after someone and then it gets stopped by a leash that gags it back. That's exactly what that dog was doing in my dream. And it was a big, fat, chunky, ugly dog with some crazy fangs. And it was just barking around this child. And I was inside the bedroom looking outside at this activity on some way. What's going on with this child? And I don't know why in myself I did not immediately react to take that child out of that harm's way. And the dog was barking, and then something so most terrible happened. My little sister, who at the time was just a child, but in my dream she was grown up. She came into this kennel where this baby was sitting ali quiet, ali peaceful. She came into this kennel, into this little dog fence, right? While the dog could not get to the child because it was leashed. My little sister rocked out and took this baby by the mouth like that, like as in the upper palate with the one hand and the lower palate with the other palate with the other hand, and ripped open, hurting the child, essentially almost killing it. And oh my goodness, the amount of shock, horror, and devastating pain that I felt in my dream at that activity was just through the roof. And I ran to this child. This child, after having her mouth ripped basically to do what? Because the child was so quiet. It's not like they were trying to shut the baby up. It was the dog that was loud, but there was frustration that the dog was not getting to the child, and the child had been abandoned in this space. And my little sister was the mother of this child. My little sister was the mother of this child, not like I said, at the time she was a kid herself. Ripped this child's mouth basically apart. I took this baby and I was like asking, it cried, like it screamed, you know, like when a baby has been really hurt, like I wanna agawa. Abashapa, oh man, like I don't want to think about it. Abashapa soya high, like hit the head, like with a surface, and then the child is like, you know how when babies are in a lot of pain and they're not faking crying, how it's such a heartbreaking cry when they've just hit their head against something or they've fallen and it really hurts, and the cry is just so heartbreaking. And the child cried like that, and oh my goodness, I went and I picked up this child and I was like, askis, and I started to speak life into this baby. And I said, I'm sorry for what was done to you. I'm gonna take you and I'm gonna raise you and I'm gonna take you to school. school, and I'm going to take you to surgery so they can fix your jaw, and I'm going to bring you back to health. And this child kept quiet, Watula, and I was expecting this child to be disfigured. When I looked at her in the face, her jaw was put back together again. It's like nothing had happened to her, and all that it took was for me to speak life to her, was for me to merely have the intention to heal her pain. And the stuff that I said, I don't want to cry, the stuff that I said to the child in particular was that I'm sorry, I'm gonna take you, I'm gonna make you mine, I'm gonna adopt you, and I'm going to take you to school, and I'm gonna take you to plastic surgery to fix your disfigurement, your jaw that had been ripped apart. I woke up from that dream with so much confusion, sorrow, but confusion as to what was that, what was I seeing? I woke up really confused as to what I was seeing. And I would not understand that dream until today. Not so much today, but this season, until this persecution. I would not understand that dream until this here season of most horrific persecution that I am presently enduring. Who was the dog? The dog are all these men barking around my life. The baby was me. My sister was my mom. The reason the Lord used my baby sister was to help me basically see that this woman is trapped in the body of a child. And at the time, my little sister was a child. She was still, like, I was yet to lose my job in corporate South Africa. My little sister is 17 years younger than me. She was born in 2001. She's a Gen Z. So when I was still employed in corporate in 2014, this child was in primary school. She was in primary. So for her to have a baby in my dream was just utterly bizarre. And my little sister didn't want the baby. She wanted the baby to get destroyed by the dog. But the dog could not get to her because the dog was gagged. And so my sister just ripped apart the jaw of the baby. God was showing me not so much that my little sister would one day have a child that she would try to harm and I would take care of it and adopt it. He was showing me that my mother is pretty much as old as my little sister, a child having children, and will neglect the kid and leave the child at the mercy of monsters and rip apart its jaw in trying to silence the child, though the child was walking in peace. Essentially, you would try to sabotage the life of your own child and the ministry I have given her. I, in that dream, represented God because I took this child and I had a severe, God wanted me to basically go through all the depths of pain that he felt at the activity of my mom. When I understand the whole feel as wrong and I was in so much pain. At witnessing this activity, I was appalled. And I took this baby and immediately I had a determination in my dream to adopt. Like, first thing I said is, I'm sorry. And then I said, I'm gonna adopt you and make you my own child. And then I said, I'm gonna take you to university and give you education. And then I am going to take you to surgery to heal your broken jaw. And when I finally saw the baby, upon quieting it, she did not have the injury on her anymore. That was God showing me that you will be betrayed. Your mother will bring a severity of pain. There will be monsters trying to get to you through her negligence, and they won't succeed. Then she in herself will try to silence you. At that stage, my mom has already done all these things. You're gonna be in a severity of pain and cry like just cry with belts in your voice. But I'm gonna adopt you. And God, the Bible says that we are adopted into the kingdom of God. The words in my dream verbatim was, I'm gonna adopt you. And then the Lord said, I'm gonna educate you and take you for surgery. Education is all this instruction that I'm now today walking in. The Lord trains me, teaches me, he gives me knowledge. He's just been training me through these years. And then, so basically it's education in him, not just so much learning 1 + 1 = 2. And then I'm gonna take you to surgery that your disfigurement might be healed. All that which was done to you that took away what you are supposed to be, you're gonna be healed and recovered to a point where it doesn't even show that somebody tried to rip apart your jaw. Essentially, I'm going to preserve you in that pain. They're gonna try and steal your glory, but they're not gonna win. And by the time you come out of this, it would have been an event that was supposed to disfigure you, but you're gonna come out looking like nothing ever happened. Look at me today. It's been 11 years going on 12 that I've been enduring this here most heinous treachery, and not a single hair on my head indeed has perished. I still look pretty much as great as I did when I first lost everything at the age of 29. I'm 41. People are trying to age me. People are trying everything in their power using witchcraft, spells to disfigure me overnight, make me crack something, get pimples. And all of their witchcraft keeps on bouncing off walls. It doesn't work. The Lord has preserved my beauty. Just this morning, I woke up and I heard the Spirit saying to me, they want you to mourn your face. Like an old woman looking at the pictures of herself in youth. Looking in the mirror, realizing what glory has fled from her. And because she does not have an internal perspective, because I saw Poloswi, Ababa said that she was once very beautiful. And now she's just this old thing that's just sagging everywhere. They want me to have that kind of sorrow, given especially that I've yet to get married. So I'm like, oh my goodness, my marriable years are fleeting right before me. And the glory of my wedding pictures is also fleeting before me with every single day. And every year, people are expecting me to start to sag, to fall apart, my neck to actually be turkeying and whatnot, like at record speeds. And I am being essentially maintained in a very supernatural fashion because of people trying to take away. But I look very young. I've got a baby face for a woman that's 41. Indaba ukuthi ngina 41 trying to make me ukuthi ngijahe or whatever. God has preserved me for no other reason than the fact that people tried to ruin me. And so in my dream, the face was disfigured, the baby was crying. But as life was being spoken into the baby, it healed. And when I looked at the baby again, God was showing me a prophecy of what would happen to me in the future. I would not understand that prophecy in that dream until it happened. My little sister having a baby, what's going on over there? I don't understand. Why would this 10-year-old actually be making babies? It wasn't my sister, it was my mom. But it was representing the heart of my mom. She was like a child. And then, of course, me, left out on a limb and thrown out to the dogs by her, throwing me to the sharks by her. That was my mom over there. And then God taking me, essentially being a father to the fatherless and a husband to the widow. God being the solution to everyone that no one cares about. God takes up causes. Do you understand? And he took mine up in showing me in advance what would happen. And it would be bizarre for me to finally find out. It would be bizarre for me to finally find out that that dream was talking about me and that the person ripping apart the baby's mouth was my sister. Well, I dreamt about not so much that same baby, but again, a baby girl, wearing a onesie with hearts on it, and my aunt leaving the baby out on a limb. In my dream, there is never a representation of my mom because the dreams are trying to be cryptic that way. But I ultimately am able to interpret them properly. That it's as a result of the witchcraft of my aunt. That's the root. And the baby was me. The motorist was society out there deciding to do better by me in spite of the negligence of my mother. And so the car stops and the baby doesn't die. And I get to live. And the abilities of the baby beyond that of a baby was evidence of it not being a baby, but a person. It was evident of that baby not being a baby, but a person. It's presently 6:33 in the morning. And I just heard that the door was opened. The key in the ignition in the kitchen, the door essentially was open. Because domestic worker yadla, and then she doesn't want to be interrupted by the domestic worker coming. So uboots at 6:30, she wants to sleep, rest. Domestic but unfortunately, look at this woman out opening in for a domestic, but not for me. Mega poregile me to a point of locking me outside. I come in a bucket. Now what she's under some shampoo. English. I didn't tell you that because I didn't want to talk about my mom. I didn't want to talk about what she's doing to me. But these are the things that I've had to endure. This is what I've had to quietly, just in fortitude, just glide through. But I guess it's important to share this understanding that you might be able to see when you are that you might be able to gauge as a Christian that throughout the entirety of your life, prior to and including your walk in Jesus Christ, the Lord was there every step of the way, preserving you, bringing you to the point of redemption and bringing you to the point of ministry. Megakhona sonke lesikhathi. And his pursuit yakhe of you was loving. His pursuit of you was loving. The Lord will teach you certain behaviors. He will teach you certain even spiritual disciplines. God trained me stoicism, but not to the nth degree because I'm quite emotional. So I can't call myself a stoic per se. But there was a facet of stoicism invested in me by the apathy of my mom. I wanted love. I wanted care, I wanted attention, but I didn't get it. And when then I harmed myself indeed twice, and I didn't get it, and the amount of pain the second time in particular that I felt in my body, the pain of which lingered for a whole week. I didn't go to school for a week. One of my friends that used to live next door to me finally came to visit on some, whoa, you didn't come to school for a week, what's going on? And it was this friend that got me out of bed. Because my mom was worried that maybe I was dying because I kept on vomiting. That because I did not want to be just a heavy burden on my friend, I sat with her watching TV and I ate oranges. And I asked my mom, please buy me oranges, and she bought them and brought them home. Vitamin C, my spirit, I can't say my spirit. I wasn't born again at the time, but I asked my mom to buy me oranges because I felt like oranges would make me feel better. And you know what they did? I think that was God, the spirit of God, not spirit of God. I wasn't born again, but a nudging, if you will. A nudging told me to eat the orange. So my mom bought a whole sack of oranges. And I ate them with my friend, and of course over the next couple of days. And the next week I was able to go to school even though I was very, very sick. Still, but I recovered slowly but surely. And it was the visit of this friend of mine that my mom was grateful for. She even said, I'm so glad because if she did not come, then never to compete. I was vomiting the whole entire week, mengula. And my mom was worried I might shona, I might die. And she was sweet in a way that I'd never seen before. Not so much before, but from a certain point up till this date. And I was like, this is nice. I did get the attention, but not first before. Her ignoring me, and it was only because the doctor gave me a grim diagnosis. I noticed at that stage that I don't want to be at the precipice of death just to get my mom liking me. I made a decision that I want to live. I made a decision that I want to thrive. And in so making the decision that I want to thrive, I was invested in me a stoic sort of kind of personality. And I say sort of kind of because it wasn't entirely stoic. Once I started dating, I just wanted love, and I was so vulnerable, and I left myself prostrate before these people that could love me or lack thereof. But the moment they acted awry, I wore my stoicism again. I wore my unpreparedness to show how I'm feeling on the inside again. And God trained me that there, stoicism, if you will, in order to prepare me for today. For a time when people would not care what's going on with you. You would want love, they would not give it. But you're not going to let them see it. You're not going to let them see that you need love, that you're sad, that you're broken, you're devastated, that you're emotional, that you are teary-eyed sometimes. You're not going to let people drive over your head with their tractors. You're not going to let any of that happen. You are going to sing through the sorrow. You are going to have the sound of music. You are going to be frustrated to every last person that wants to make you sad. Because Bakfunu said, but you see the glory and the joy that is in this here story that we're telling is that unlike before where you were pretending to be okay when you're not, now you're actually okay. Listen, there is an actual joy. It comes in the morning. Now there is an actual peace because there is a peace that transcends all understanding in Jesus Christ. This time around, you're not faking it till you make it. It's actually true. You are actually happy. When you tap into the Spirit of God, you have joy. Why? Because from where it is that you need all this love, and from where it is that you need all this joy, there is an available parent. There is a present parent. There is a loving father. There is someone who cares when you've got a bruise, a scratch, the smallest little brace. When your foot is sprained, there is a father in heaven that cares to heal you. There is a father in heaven that when you're falling from an accident of sorts, he will charge an angel to make sure that you will land, given that you don't have medical aid, in such a position that so as to minimize damage or break a bone. But listen, you're gonna have a sprain and you're gonna walk limping for 2 weeks. But I care about that sprain and I'm going to heal it over time. And your ankle is going to go down and stop being swollen. And you will heal in front of people that didn't even ask you. Why are you limping? You're going to heal and walk around in the midst of people that are not even bothering to ask you, why are you limping? The Lord, like some parabens, is a preservative. The kind that makes sure that McDonald's food never rots no matter how long you store it on your kitchen counter. Years. And the fries still look the same. Years. And the patty doesn't get mold. Years. And the Coca-Cola. Okay, the Coca-Cola did get mold and peach fuzz on the surface. I once watched this experiment. Yeah, McDonald's food that was left in some space for years, and this person did a time lapse to show how much time was passing, and the fries stuck with McDonald's never rot. Ultimately, the lettuce in the burger did go off certain things, but there are other things that just did not get rotten. And this guy just left this in this window for years, and McDonald's fries did not rot. What are you putting in your body that does not rot? Yeah, those aren't potatoes. I don't know what they are. I was also watching Mortal Engines. That's the name of the show on Netflix. Last time I had forgotten the name of the show. Mortal Engines. There's this one girl over there that has like a Twinkie and she's eating it. And the one guy looks at, because Mortal Engines is about essentially a post-apocalyptic world that's quite dystopian. And she's got like a Twinkie where in a place where there's no food, like packaged food, like the food industry that you know today that be out to making food so convenient is nothing because the world has been just blasted by human indiscretion. And she's got like a Twinkie and she has like a friend that she meets with, and then she shares her Twinkie with this like guy who is her friend that saved her from like certain death at some point. And she shares her Twinkie with this guy. she shares her Twinkie with this guy. Okay, she shares her Twinkie with this guy, and this guy, the first thing that he does when this chick gives her this food, he reads the labeling and then sees the expiration date, and the expiration date is like a cool like 700 years ago. 700 years ago. Like the expiration date is literally back before the world was thrown into the dogs. And now we're living in Mortal Engines. And this guy was like, this thing was expired in the year 2017. This is now the year 3000 and something or whatever, okay? And this guy's like, this thing was expired in 2017. And this girl is like, the food of the ancients is practically indestructible. she's like, the food of the ancients is practically indestructible. Essentially, ancient civilization people's food is indestructible. And she's not wrong. McDonald's flies don't rot. McDonald's, like proper, the food that you be out to buying, even though it's got an expiration date, you be out to still go into it. I've got linseed that says that once opened, use within 30 days. I'm able to just keep on using it for 4 months down the line and it never ever gets moldy, nothing. The food of the ancients is indeed indestructible. And Jesus Christ, when he invests his strategy in his saint, he will make them like the food of the ancients, preserved, and you don't rot, you don't go awry. You don't break, you don't barge, you don't skedaddle, you don't bounce. You just get renewed day by day. You have a true joy, a peace. You bounce up and down. You've got life in you, eternal. And so therefore you're immortal. And people in the future that are living in a dystopian nightmare will look at what you are and be like, yo, the men and women of Jesus Christ are frankly indestructible. You're trying to bring the dark ages and make out of us ancient, happy people. And you'll be like, yo, the joy of the ancients is frankly indestructible. You can ram into them with a monster truck. You can punch them in. You can even shoot them 10 times in a satanic ritual. And they'll just keep bouncing back. The strength of the body of Christ was something we had never seen before. But we killed every last one of them. Until now we're living in a dystopian nightmare. And the remaining remnant of the church is underground. You're trying to bring about the life in that show, Mortal Angels. Not angels, but mortal engines. Where you be out eating a Twinkie. Out here nibbling a portion of scripture, and you're like, the food of the ancients is frankly indestructible. It's practically indestructible. But why should it be the food of the ancients? Why are you not embracing the cross today? Why are you looking like you're looking nice and forward to a dystopian why are you looking like you're looking forward to a most dystopian, nightmarish dark ages? Why are you trying to extract God from everywhere where you're at and then therefore speak of us as the ancients that were frankly indestructible? They were so great just this week. Yesterday, if anything, I woke up from a most disturbing nightmare. It was then followed by a severity of spiritual oppression, which I of course have to fight with praying in tongues all the day long. This here monstrous affliction on my person came about as a result of dreaming about the Moravians. I told you God compares the present remnant of praying saints to the Moravians. Persecuted, but once they found solace and ground, they revive. They pray for so many years that they bring about a reformation, They bring about evangelism, missionaries that are going to rescue so very many countries. And I shared that in my last video, and so therefore, the video that I watched recently, the people who watch my content from underground, where you at? Yeah. The people who watch my content from the city under the sea, yeah, because you those monsters at the Bermuda Triangle, they then did a spell to flatten us, and I had a dream of the Moravians not finding solace anywhere, finding rest nowhere, striving perpetually, never ever, as in never ever, getting embraced so that they can never get to a point where they're so comfortable that they are praying on a loop for 100 years until they are the biggest missionary sent out in the world to revive an earth of dying souls. If you want to stop the move of God, you're not going to win. First and foremost, there is a naivety in so thinking you're going to do that, because if God wants to do something, he will achieve it. But just the fact that you're trying to bring about the dystopian, nightmarish civilization in the show Mortal Engines shows and like just how decrepit your brains are, just how rotten you are, just how dystopian, just how much entropy your minds has graduated towards, just how much entropy you are like just pummeling into, like a most horrific accident. You are disambiguating in the worst way, and you are chosenly doing so, hoping to bring about a godless world that can do no other thing but result in a tribulation that, listen to this, people are going to be non-human, robotized, unemotional, unfeeling, imaginative, that non-essentials can just be eradicated, the non-essentials of which are regarded as such for no other reason but the fact that they are either Christian or disabled or whatever it is that has made all different kinds of experiment in the human race. The bizarre thing that they are, like eugenics. People are trying to create a supreme race, and so they experiment on lesser folk. They want to bring forth a dystopian, nightmarish world of that nature. They want to bring forth a dystopian, nightmarish world of that nature, and already you are hearing these conversations coming from the tongues of people at the World Economic Forum. You will know just the excruciating taboo that Noah Yuval Harari is in his dogma. He is ridiculous and he sounds very much like Hitler, just a euphemized version. It's just been polished with a new paint. But he is frankly a eugenicist. We are deplorables to him, them, all them. Secret societies believe that the rest of us that don't belong to these structures are deplorables. You are Hitler, and I spoke about that in my last video. You want to bring about that dystopian nightmare, but if you want to bring that dystopian nightmare, if you want to bring about a world in your own image in that regard, you can induce no other thing but a dystopia. You can do no other thing but bring about all that entropy. You can do no other thing but disambiguate. There is no sunshine in a world where you think that the disabled, that Jews, that Christians, that blacks, that Indians, that colors, anything and all that is your chosen criteria to dehumanize a human being. The moment you eliminate the glory of God in any human being, no matter what it is that they look like or are enduring, on that day, you are no different from crazy little monsters of history. You are only reinventing the wheel and changing the vocabulary that you are speaking these most taboo dogmas with, but it's still the same thing. And in a space of that nature, at the nth degree of itself, there is no sun that shines over there. And so there is no photosynthesis. There is no chlorophyll in a plant. There is no bringing forth, therefore, fruit. There is no farming land and harvesting crop. You will endure a dystopian space that has no more food, and then you will think about the food of the ancients and wish you had listened to Karabo. History has taught you lessons, but you don't want to learn from them. And as a result of not learning from these lessons in history, oh, ridiculousnesses, the reality is this. Hearken to it. You will ultimately get given on a silver platter all your wildest dreams in the tribulation, because you will have been rebuked enough times and resisted enough times until the body of Christ has been thinned to a most unfortunate remnant, to a point where they're living so uncomfortably and are unable to evangelize. And then the Lord will then reap us. He will then take the body of Christ to heaven in the rapture. And everybody else that wakes up to smell that particular coffee will then endure a most terrible great tribulation, where now you will be such mindless drones in the space that you will force people to take a mark on their right hand and on their forehead just to eat and just to trade and commerce, just to be people at all. You will force them to do this thing, to allege to you. It'll no longer be about skills. You're already doing this to me today. It happened in the Holocaust, where it is that you don't care about people's skills. You don't care about people's abilities. You don't care about what they can contribute. You don't care about gifts and talents. You don't care to be moved to tears like your Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman when you're listening to the opera. You don't care to be moved to tears like Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman by listening to opera music for the first time, because somebody is just that talented and so they deserve to be heard. Now you take people who are really gifted, and I spoke about that in my last video. You take the gifted and you just make them play violins and cellos in Auschwitz as people are being walked to lethal showers, gas chambers. That's what you do with skilled people. You go and you grab a doctor at Auschwitz and he becomes the doctor of the Jews because nobody else wants to touch them. Doesn't matter that they studied medicine and that they passed better than everybody else in the school. It doesn't matter. Even the most brilliant of people, if they belong to the deplorables, those which you have essentially classed as these which need to be eliminated, no amount of singing, no amount of dancing, no amount of skilled labor, no amount of intelligence, academic excellence matters. It'll only ever be used for slaves at Auschwitz that are on their way to gas chambers. And the tribulation is, listen, Auschwitz on steroids. No one matters. No one is of any relevance if they don't take a mark. It's not about their skills. It's about their allegiance. If you don't plead allegiance to the Antichrist, you're no one. Even though you are the most skilled doctor, you are Einstein. You helped us when the life was still normal before the rapture. Like, pioneer, groundbreaking technology research. You brought forth a cure for HIV. But I mean, if you're gonna turn to Christ as that scientist, doesn't matter. You didn't take the mark. I don't care that you can chill in a laboratory and like test and test and test until finally we have got a cure for cancer. At the end of the day, you're a Christian. So die. Bah. Well, it's not bah, it's more like gah. They get beheaded. In the tribulation, they get beheaded. It culminates to that point. It culminates to that point in the Great Tribulation. But human behavior, your insufficiency of character, makes you create these little bubbles of tribulation all across history, and you get uprooted because of God's grace, because there's enough people that are sober, enough to stop that which you're doing. But these here sober people thin in number over time, until they're so few that they get driven underground, and now they can no longer revive. They can no longer reform. They can no longer correct the status quo. They can no longer rescue Jews at Auschwitz and in a humanitarian spate have a soldier put down his gun just to have a conversation with a Jewish woman that was emaciated to near death, and now all he wants to do is just talk to her like she's a human being, that she might see, that she might feel seen. There are still people doing that today. So the world is salvageable, but when then you insist on this trajectory, where it doesn't matter what skills, what talents, what a person got to give, when people are no longer moved to tears at an opera because somebody got these pipes out here in these streets, but they feel entitled to them to ravage them because all you do is just squander souls. Just like Babylon. The Bible describes Babylon in Revelation 18 as a place where souls are just hunted. You hunt the souls of men. When you get to a point where you're just hunting souls, then the judgment of Babylon befalls you. You get destroyed in just like one night. You get devastated in one night. You fall in one fell swoop. Go read Revelation 18. The souls of men are hunted and squandered. And it doesn't matter what skills they have. It doesn't matter what books they've written. It doesn't matter what excellent theoretical physicists they are. It doesn't matter what grandiose philosophers with great arguments they are. Nothing is relevant when you're nice and dystopian like Hitler, when you're a eugenicist like Margaret Sanger, when you imagine that people need to be eliminated from the face of the earth. You will be dystopian, ghoulish, unlovable, ridiculous, and blind to your own tail that you're nibbling away at, your own thing that you're eating into. I mean, do you not think that the human race is just nice and rotten when women can be recommended to cook their own placentas because they're full of nutrients once giving birth to children? Almost as if though what nutritional content is found in a placenta cannot be found in superfoods elsewhere, when the Bible made it clear that do not eat blood. And even if you were to drain all the blood out of there, certainly God is not interested that you should eat anything from a human body. Anything that comes from us ought not be consumed, because life is in the blood and the life of a human being is precious. Placenta kept the baby alive, ensconced it, but you are not to eat it, for it is from the human body. On that day you are eating excrement. If at all Isaiah lamented, was it Isaiah? No, Ezekiel. If at all he lamented to God, when the Lord said that cook for yourself this particular meal over human waste. And Elijah, so as to basically be used depictively to describe what Israel would be like, the way that they would be so defiled and end up. He predicted it. And indeed it happened. Eating unclean food.